Imagine a regular man with no pilot training, managing to steal a commercial airplane right from under the nose of airport security. This is not a Hollywood movie plot, but the chilling reality of what transpired on August 10, 2018. Richard Russell, a ground service agent for Horizon Air, did exactly that. With no prior experience in piloting an aircraft, Russell managed to commandeer a de Havilland Canada-8 400 from Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. The audacity of this act left the airport staff and security in a bewildered state as they had to face the unthinkable. A commercial airplane had been stolen in broad daylight and was now airborne under the control of an untrained individual. Immediate response was initiated. The airport's emergency protocols were triggered and F-15 fighter jets were scrambled into action. The airport was left in a state of shock and disbelief, scrambling F-15 fighters to intercept the stolen plane. Who was Richard Russell, the man who dared to steal a plane? This question has puzzled many since the audacious Horizon Air Q400 incident of 2018. Richard Russell, known to his friends and colleagues simply as Rich, was an ordinary man who found himself in extraordinary circumstances. Born in sunny Florida, Russell's life took him on a journey across the United States. As a young man, he traded the flatlands of Florida for the rugged wilderness of Alaska, where he was raised. Later, he ventured to Oregon, pursuing higher education in a bid to better his prospects. This journey, which spanned thousands of miles, was only a precursor to the one he would embark upon in the cockpit of a stolen plane. Russell's professional life saw him join Horizon Air as a ground service agent, a role that put him in close proximity to the machines he would later commandeer. Though he had no formal piloting experience, his fascination with aircraft was evident. He was a man who dreamt of the skies, but was grounded by reality. His colleagues at Horizon Air remember him as a quiet and well-liked employee. He wasn't someone who drew attention to himself or caused trouble. Yet beneath this calm exterior, there was a simmering undercurrent of discontent. Russell had expressed frustration about his wages during the incident, hinting at a deeper dissatisfaction with his life and circumstances. This dissatisfaction, coupled with his unfulfilled dreams of flight, created a volatile mix. It was as if he was caught in a tug-of-war between his dreams and his reality, and this internal struggle would ultimately lead him to take drastic measures. So who was Richard Russell? He was not a villain, nor a hero. He was a man caught in the relentless grip of frustration and desperation, a man who reached his breaking point and chose to escape, not on foot or by car, but by air. He was a man who dared to steal a plane, to fly away from his problems, if only for a brief fleeting moment. Richard Russell was not your average disgruntled employee. He was a man on the edge, teetering between frustration and desperation. What does a man with no flying experience do after stealing a plane? The answer is as bewildering as the question itself. Richard Russell, a ground service agent, had just committed an unthinkable act of theft. Now he found himself airborne in a Horizon Air de Havilland Canada-8 400 with no pilot's training to rely on. Despite his lack of experience, Russell managed to keep the plane aloft. His only connection to the world below was the disembodied voices of air traffic controllers who were trying their best to guide him back to the ground safely. But Russell had other plans. He expressed a desire to perform aerial maneuvers, a feat that would challenge even seasoned pilots. As Russell danced with death, he communicated with air traffic control. His conversations weren't filled with demands or threats, but rather, they painted the picture of a man in emotional turmoil. He referred to himself as a broken guy, his voice echoing the desperation of his situation. In his Flight of Desperation, Russell also expressed a wish to see an orca, a seemingly whimsical desire in such grave circumstances. It's as if he was trying to find a moment of beauty in the midst of chaos, a brief respite from the reality of what he had done. As Russell navigated the skies, his emotional state became more and more evident. He wasn't a hijacker with an agenda. He wasn't a terrorist with a purpose. He was simply a man lost and broken, seeking solace in the endless expanse of the sky. The Flight of Desperation wasn't driven by a need to escape or cause harm. It was a cry for help, a plea that echoed across airwaves and touched the hearts of those on the ground. In the air, Russell was a broken man seeking solace in the skies. The horizon was his escape, the aircraft his confidant, and the air traffic controllers, his unintended therapists. The Flight of Desperation was a tragic testament to the human condition, a stark reminder of how deeply one can feel lost, even when they're thousands of feet in the air. All flights must land, but not all landings are safe. This axiom of the aviation world took on a chilling new meaning on August 10, 2018. Richard Russell was behind the controls of a stolen de Havilland Canada-8 400, a plane he had no experience flying. His flight, filled with desperate maneuvers and poignant communications with air traffic control, was destined to end in tragedy. As the sun began to set, Russell steered the plane towards Ketron Island. Without the necessary skills to land, he crashed the aircraft, tragically ending his life in the process. The island, usually a quiet and serene place, was suddenly transformed into a fiery crash site, the wreckage of the plane a testament to the desperate act of a broken man. The immediate aftermath was a frenzy of activity as authorities rushed to the scene. The FBI was quick to rule out terrorism, determining that Russell had acted alone. The air traffic controllers who had communicated with Russell during his flight were lauded for their calm and professionalism in an unimaginably stressful situation. The public response was a mix of shock, sadness, and disbelief. How could a quiet, well-liked employee with no piloting experience manage to steal a plane and take it on a desperate flight? The incident raised serious questions about airport security and mental health support for employees. Yet, amidst the shock and confusion, there was also a sense of sympathy for Russell. His communications with air traffic control revealed a man grappling with deep personal issues. He described himself as a broken guy, his words resonating with many who heard them. In the end, Russell's daring act was a tragic flight to nowhere. When the dust settled, the questions began. The FBI was quick to rule out terrorism, instead painting a picture of a man acting alone, driven by forces as yet undetermined. Richard Russell, the quiet and well-liked ground service agent, had left no clear indication of his motivations. His actions, however, had lasting effects. In the wake of the incident, airport security measures underwent scrutiny and subsequent enhancements. The vulnerability of ground service staff, with their access to aircraft, was brought into sharp focus. The incident highlighted a need for greater attention to the human element in aviation security. Yet, amidst the investigations and procedural changes, the essence of the incident lay in its stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of desperation. The 2018 Horizon Air Q400 incident was not just about a stolen plane or a tragic end, but about the desperate lengths a man can go to when he feels cornered.